In the ever-buzzing world of stock markets, nothing raises more eyebrows than jaw-dropping financial moves and unexpected market turns. And with NVIDIA, you get the whole package, my friend. Recent news has gripped the attention of tech enthusiasts and investors alike. NVIDIA Corporation is in the spotlight yet again, but this time, the drama involves potential antitrust law violations stirred by an inquiry from the U.S. Department of Justice. While some might assume this spells trouble, NVIDIA reassures its stakeholders and surprises everyone with a calm and calculated denial to the whole debacle in the first place. Could this be mere turbulence for NVIDIA, or is there a greater story unfolding in their favor? Big names like Huawei and news-hungry media outlets are fervently watching this space. Stay with us as we delve deeper into this unfolding narrative involving leading tech giants and their market maneuvers. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
We learned tonight that contrary to news reports, NVIDIA has not received a subpoena from the Justice Department about possible antitrust violations, but we know that Justice is indeed looking into the semi-giant's remarkable strength in its generative AI franchise. Justice is after Apple, too, alleging that the iPhone maker has consolidated its monopoly power by keeping its ecosystem fenced in. Oh, and next week, Justice goes to court to fight against Google's alleged monopoly power over digital advertising. With NVIDIA and Apple, we've got a clearer pattern. They've succeeded by making a better product, leaving their competitors behind. And now Justice is coming after them. I'd argue Google no longer has the superior product, but they're still being targeted. If you don't know anything about this business, you might find it suspicious that NVIDIA makes basically 100% of the semiconductors that are used for generative AI, but they have the best products out there, and they have almost the entire market to themselves. Now, NVIDIA was succinct in its response. I'm going to quote, NVIDIA wins on merit as reflected in our benchmark results and value to customers who can choose whatever solution is best for them, end quote. If the government is going after them for publishing benchmarks and winning orders, well, that seems like a terrible overreach to me. Let me add to that. NVIDIA finds itself in the same position as Intel back in the 90s. Intel had the best processors with AMD in a distant second. Back then, Intel had almost 90% of the market, while AMD had about 10. There was no monopoly, just a superior product. Right now, I'd argue that AMD makes excellent chips that come close to NVIDIA's, but aren't there yet, only because NVIDIA keeps advancing the ball. Customers are free to go to AMD, though, if they don't want NVIDIA. But let's be clear, none of this artificial intelligence stuff would exist without NVIDIA's technology. Second, what do the regulators really want NVIDIA to do in this situation? Should they stop making the best chips? Just today, Nature magazine reported that the Clinical Histopathology Imaging Evaluation Foundation, or CHIEF, which uses NVIDIA chips, has been able to identify cancer cells, predict tumor origins, recognize genetic mutations, and forecast survival outcomes, all essential when it comes to diagnosing cancer and coming up with a treatment plan. Does Justice really want them to make dumber chips that can't help try to cure cancer? Because that's really the only way they'll lose their dominant position. Third, can we recognize, just for a moment, recognize that NVIDIA has a high-quality problem? There's a tremendous shortage of its high-end chips. The company has to decide where they go, and obviously it's going to allocate them to customers that do the most business. On Wall Street, everyone accepts that logic. It should be fine for NVIDIA, too. As I see it, this is simply an abuse of power by Justice, not by NVIDIA.
In an eyebrow-raising turn of events, NVIDIA Corporation found itself amid swirling speculation after reports emerged about a DOJ investigation into potential antitrust law violations. The buzz began when Bloomberg reported that NVIDIA, among other companies, received subpoenas. However, in a shocking twist that will make even M. Night Shyamalan blush with surprise, NVIDIA's spokesperson clarified that the company had not been subpoenaed, but had inquired with the Department of Justice and are willing to answer any investigative questions they might have in the future about the nature of their business. NVIDIA wins on merit, as reflected in our benchmark results and value to customers, and customers can choose whatever solution is best for them, stated the spokesperson. Nonetheless, NVIDIA is more than willing to cooperate with regulators to answer any questions about their business, and not under any more scrutiny or investigation like the news would have you believe. But before we go any further, if you want to keep up with NVIDIA's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. That said, back to the video.
They're rejecting the Bloomberg exclusive reporting that we had, essentially that NVIDIA and other companies had been subpoenaed. So what we were saying was that it was a real escalation here, because in the past we'd been reporting on questionnaires that had been sent out to companies, and now they were going to be legally binded to respond. NVIDIA has rejected it for its part, and it's saying that really the reason it has so much clout in the market really comes down to the quality of its products. And that's why it has such a strong customer base, and that's why it has such a strong order log. But of course, the regulatory scrutiny around the company does not seem to be disappearing anytime soon. The real question here is whether they've created an exclusive monopoly of sorts, where they're really making it more difficult for customers to choose other chips or to use NVIDIA and as well other products in the market.
But what does this really mean for NVIDIA and its investors? First, let's put this into perspective. In a market often dominated by volatile swings, where even minor news can send shocks through the valuation of a stock, NVIDIA's recent performance has been nothing short of roller coaster-like. On a single Tuesday, NVIDIA saw its market cap lopped by an astounding $279 billion, dragging the stock down by 9.5%. Imagine that, a valuation drop larger than the GDP of some small countries just in one day. For those keeping score, this event marked the largest pure dollar valuation decline in market history. The volatility did not go unnoticed, but Wednesday's trading session painted a more hopeful picture, with NVIDIA rebounding by roughly 1% and fluctuating slightly less than the day before. This is a picture that showcased to experts and young investors alike that no matter the struggle, NVIDIA's leadership in the AI revolution will carry it to even greater heights beyond. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
So what I think is going to happen is we'll have a repeat of what happened only a month ago. And so if you take a look at the bellwether stock, NVIDIA, a month ago it did close at about 98, 99, even got lower than that in early August in the intraday move. And so we'll see how it goes. I imagine that we'll retest. And if we successfully retest that, then I'd probably go in and become an aggressive buyer again. Because in the last month or so, we had their quarterly earnings report and we had some other data. And of course, the company is going to slow a little bit, but it's still growing at a really good rate. The outlook is very bright. And I think the only thing that's really new that changes the thesis, and I don't really think it changes it at all, is the subpoena that they've received from the Department of Justice, which is typical in the technology sector when angry competitors start complaining to the government. So I actually think it's a pretty good buying opportunity after with the smoke clears here, and I hope it's fairly soon. Today, it looks like the stock's going to open up at 106. That means it's trading at 29 times next year's earnings for 42% earnings growth, which is a nice discount, whereas the S&P 500 is trading at 20 plus times earnings, and it's probably trading at a PEG ratio of about 3 times, and the PEG ratio for NVIDIA is about 60-70%. So I actually think it's quite attractive.
By mid-afternoon trading, NVIDIA's stock had rebounded by roughly 1%, with fluctuations throughout the day showcasing the inherent unpredictability. A key reason behind this partial recovery was an important revelation. One of NVIDIA's competitors failed to match its processing performance. For all the techies out there, that's like buying the newest gaming console only to find out your friend's older model performs better. In financial terms, NVIDIA holds a significant lead in AI processing capabilities. One common thread in the story is China's Huawei, which has been grappling with performance complaints after adopting alternatives to NVIDIA's industry-leading hardware and software. The U.S. export restrictions have put NVIDIA's advanced processors out of Huawei's reach, pushing the Chinese giant to scramble for other options. So far, none compare to NVIDIA's reliability and processing power, particularly for advanced AI applications. For NVIDIA's shareholders, this reiterates the company's leadership in a critical tech domain. NVIDIA exemplifies this with its soaring highs and nerve-wracking lows, but its fundamentals remain strong. Recent tweets and social media chatter have amplified the mixed sentiments. Users tweeted strongly, standing by NVIDIA, saying stuff like, "Added to my NVIDIA position during the recent 10% dip." This is when conviction separates strong investors from those who panic and sell. Dip buying requires strategy and patience, catching the proverbial falling knife. While others just highlighted the recent news in a shocked state and talked about the future of the company. Tweets like these highlight the investor dilemma of staying the course amid volatility, a sentiment validated by NVIDIA's continued tech edge despite short-term market volatility.
You would buy it today, or you would wait, you said, till the smoke clears or until it tests that the low from before? Because, I mean, if you're really bullish on it, it's 10% cheaper than it was yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I would do. This is what I am doing. For clients where I hold it, I've held it for years, so I'm not adding to it. But if fresh money comes in today, yeah, I think you have to get started. You can't necessarily worry in the short term where it goes, but I'm very comfortable, 110% comfortable, that if you bought it today, a year from now, you'd feel great. Of course, in the near term, it could go lower, but that's always the risk.
So, will NVIDIA's stock ride this tempestuous storm? For those with a keen eye on the future, the answer lies not just in the present turmoil, but in NVIDIA's undeniable tech dominance and forward-looking strategies. Despite the recent market shakeup and ongoing DOJ inquiries, NVIDIA's cutting-edge advancements in AI processing and GPU technologies suggest a promising trajectory. Short-term fluctuations aside, analysts provide optimistic forecasts predicting a rebound in growth, attesting to NVIDIA's resilience. The current state of NVIDIA's stock might be a roller coaster, but it remains a staple in many diversified portfolios. As of now, NVIDIA continues to assert its place as a market leader, both in technological innovation and investor confidence. The road ahead may have its bumps, but for those willing to weather the volatility, the future seems bright. What's your take? Are you ready to dive into NVIDIA's potential, or are you cautious about the current market fluctuations? Share your thoughts, and let's get the conversation rolling. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like NVIDIA have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there!